Alright, so as far as you guys know, I didn't film anything yesterday, but actually I did. It was just like a short singing thing though, and not really something I want to put out there publicly, so it's like a patrons only thing. Yay, I have Patreon. No, I like that about Patreon, that like when I want to share stuff, but kind of just like not with the many people. Yeah, it's good for posting things like that. Anyway, no, today I'm just jumping on while Mikey's in the bathroom and the parents are watching the news and all that, so got a little bit of time that I don't think I'll be interrupted, although if Dave comes home and yeah, I don't know. Anyway, today's the 14th of August. Here I am attempting another vlog. Um, Today though, oh my god, I just woke up with the whole existential thing, like, why am I doing anything? What do I want to do with myself? What are my goals? I don't have anything. Um, yeah, a bit bummed this morning. And I think yesterday was fine though, just I was really tired. I was talking to a friend in America about vocals, and that was my post bonsai recovery sort of, you know, hypnosis until about 4 in the afternoon when my brain started to do things. And I don't really remember much of what I did in the afternoon. I probably just did my work from home job, and then it would have been dinner time, and then I watched 2 episodes of Buffy. Um, yeah, finally met Spike, and I sort of forgot what he was like early on, so that was interesting. But yeah, and then today, just starting off feeling like that. And I think one of the things I was thinking about was the whole band search. So yes, I've got AD Destroyer, and I really love the music, but like it's more of a collab thing, whereas I'm missing the band thing, which is a little bit different. The collab we can do online, so we've only ever seen each other in person like 2 or 3 times maybe, and we're both not very social, so that works out nicely. But I need to be a bit more social, and I do need to get out of the house, or at least I did before COVID came along. I just like, for psychological reasons and all that, I feel like I should be in a band because I don't really. Hang on, let me turn off my heater. This is for Paper Vampire. I've had my heater on like for ages, and I know that where you are it's really hot, so sucked in. Yeah, no, it's quite cozy in here, in a good way and not in a melting way. Anyway, collab, blah blah, band. Okay, yeah. So when I see my GP as like mental health maintenance. Like I'm not depressed, but I am just not really well adjusted to society. So I keep tabs. Like I just sort of update my GP on what's going on with my head. And yeah, with goal setting kinds of things, pretty much the only goal I really have is to be in a band. I can't really think of anything else. And the main thing about being in a band is I like performing on a stage because you get like the adrenaline and it's just fun. And there aren't too many things where I think, yeah, this was really fun, you know. And especially not things that are like inexpensive. So like Toronto Zoo has this wild ropes, like high ropes course. That's fun, but it costs too much money to do that on a regular basis. And there's only 4 courses, although I think in a storm one of them got knocked over, so there was only like 3. Yeah, I think they're trying to do some renovations, but anyway, no, point being, there's not many courses, so if I did go there regularly, I would get bored, because I just get too used to it. So yeah, no, in terms of things that are relatively inexpensive that you could do regularly and actually be fun for me, performing. Thanks a lot, COVID, for getting in the way of that. But on the other side of things, like actually being in a band, because I'm not very social, I find it easier to socialize with people if there's a proper reason, and getting together to do band stuff is a proper reason. There aren't many people who I would just hang out with to have a chat. Yeah, not really. So if you want to get me being social, I need to have some kind of reason. There are a few friends who sort of understand this about me. So there's one dude I hang out with like on occasion, and he knows to ask me like, hey, do you want to go see the Star Wars exhibition? And I'm like, yes, I would like to do that. Whereas some people are like, hey, do you want to hang out? And I'm like, what for? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so there's only like one friend who would be like, hey, do you want to hang out? And I'd say, maybe. clear purpose because we just get on well enough. Yeah, otherwise I need a reason. Hey, do you want to go to this gig? As long as it's something I like, though. Like, you can't just say, hey, do you want to do this thing, and expect me to go along with it. Anyway, no, band things. So, like, with a band, most bands rehearse at least once a week, so that would get me out of the house once a week, get me being social once a week. Yeah, and I think I spend way too much time just sort of on my own, in my room, not really doing anything. Like, I don't even socialize with the family that much. I'm just sort of sitting here. Like, for the past hour, the reason I'm jumping on into doing a video blog was just because the past hour I just sort of been sitting here, like, scrolling through Facebook. There's nothing. I've been in one of those moods where I've been so frustrated about my lack of progress in finding band that I've just been hiding. Like, Facebook has that snooze for 30 days thing. I've just been snoozing everything related to music so that I don't feel frustrated by seeing everyone else do it. And then there's like vocalist groups, and I don't actually like those vocalist groups. Sometimes there's interesting things, but for the most part, it's full of ego, people who think they know what they're doing, or people who think they know how to explain things, and it just gets frustrating. And yeah, and then there's some things with my voice that I would like to be able to do but can't figure out, and no one can explain it to me at the moment. Anyway, hiding a lot of that, hiding a few other pages where all I do is complain, but I follow to keep up with, like, unemployment type things. I'm not unemployed, but I still follow those things because I feel like my position's so precarious. Anyway, so goals being bad thing, but I'm not making progress. I think it's just like because I was feeling sort of existential this morning. Yeah, frustrated about that because if that's the only thing on my list of like life goals and it doesn't feel achievable, well, that's not really good. When you have goals, you want them to be achievable, not too easy, like actually doable. But you also want to see some progress. And I think being in Sydney, and it's not even COVID that's getting in the way. It's just like in Sydney, there's not that many people who seem to be doing the kinds of music that I'm into. And then people who are also organized and, a combination where I'm not going to end up being the band mum again, trying to keep everyone in order and trying to do too much and ending up burning myself out like I did with Rainbow Death Ray. Because with that band, I was the only one who had any kind of experience, and I just have this habit of if I see something that needs doing, I take on the responsibility and put so much pressure on myself to make everything work. And I need to try not to do that, but I can be a bit of a perfectionist, and if I've already taken on a job and someone says, do you want help, but if they're not going to do it in an effective way, or if it's going to be slow or whatever, if it's just easier for me to do it, then I do it. And it's also like, if you want something done right, do it yourself kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know, I just put so much pressure on myself, and anyway, frustrated, rambling, just existential. Hopefully it's just a passing thing, but I don't really know with me. Maybe the COVID thing is taking more of a toll. So I just sit around all day and I'm like, well, what else could I do? I suppose I could open my music computer up and try and fiddle around on that, but I don't really have a lot of confidence in my own music writing ability. Like, vocals I can write, if it fits my voice, that's relatively easy. Because I can just get into it, I can play with things, I come up with words, I like playing with words, but playing with the music itself, I just find really frustrating, it doesn't come naturally to me. And if I can't find a band, ideally I'd just do solo stuff, or I'd write music and then find musicians to come and reinterpret my shitty guitar writing or whatever. If you notice a lot of Rainbow Death Ray's music, the guitars are very simple and it's the synths that are covering for a bit more complexity because I can't play guitar, and so when I'm writing most of that stuff, it's just like drop C, chugga 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 chugga. Yeah, anyway, but if I really want the band thing, I could just write music, even simply, and then give it to a guitarist and whoever, and they could jazz it up for me, and there you go, band. But I'm not even doing that, and it's just like, how much do I actually want the band thing? If I really wanted it that much, like I did when I was younger, then I would do all these things that I used to do. Like, I used to write all the music, and I used to, get people in for auditions, which is such a nightmare because a lot of musicians, you don't even know what they think being in a band even is. Like, yeah, if you don't turn up for an audition on time, that's a bad sign. You need to come to gigs on time and all that. So, hey, oh dear, there's going to be some noise. Hey, look, there's a pause button. I wonder if that works particularly well. Just give me a moment. We'll test the pause button. Did it work? No, I won't know until I watch this back, will I? And I have no idea, like, even the train of thought, there's not really a logical process. It's just like, me feel a thing, me talk about thing, and just jump from thought to thought as usual. Hey guys, sorry it's not really like an energetic thing. Just like tired all the time doesn't help, and maybe that's messing with me. Yeah. I don't know. I go through mood swings, I guess. Like Wednesday, I was feeling fine, I think. Just like I know, like 2 vlogs ago, I was talking about being gloomy, and I'm like, oh no, if I make another gloomy video vlog, people are gonna be like, wow, she's really getting sad again. No, it's just that I happen to have this thought now when I decide to do the thing. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully it's just a passing sort of thing. Hopefully I can get some real motivation, but I'm finding I don't have that real motivation. And yeah, as I was saying, like, in the past, I really worked for the band thing, whereas now I don't feel like I'm doing that so much. But on the other hand, I've been looking for so long, and like, talking to people, and no one really comes through on anything. Gosh, and I get messages from people who are like, yeah, I'll definitely send you some stuff, and it just never comes through. And you're like, okay. And the things that do come through are all like wrong. They're not my style. I think also me not being a fashionable person, like I'm not even into what's in terms of music in Sydney at the moment, and heavy metal trends. So I feel like everything gets in the way. And I really should just like motivate myself to try and write some music, especially like I've been listening more closely to some music and realizing it's not as complicated as I thought. And so like I could do some of it. One of the things with Rainbow Death Ray, I was like, maybe I'm just chugging on one note for too long, but actually a lot of bands do that, and you can add more variety with the rhythms and also what you're doing vocally over it. And because I'm a vocalist, why do I care what the guitar's doing as long as it's got the beat thing? Like rhythm, I've been told by like one composition teacher that my rhythmic interest is probably what I should be focusing on. But yeah, I mean, that guy was a jazz guy, so he probably wasn't used to hearing metal rhythms anyway. He was like, ooh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know how to approach music, but the thing is also, if I write music for a band that I'm going to create, how do I decide that it's going to be music for the band and not music for my solo project, or not music that I'm going to send to my collaborator and AD Destroyer? Then I start, like, I've got that kind of conflict as well. But, like, I would rather just be in a band where the instrumentalists write the instrumentals and I just do the vocals, because that sort of takes that away. And then, like, like if there's so much pressure on me, particularly with my solo project, like I might as well keep it solo. With Rainbow Death Ray, because I wrote most of it, I probably could have just kept it solo. Like the thing that stopped me from doing that, I think, was partly insecurity, partly the fact that I couldn't really do guitar on my own. It's better to have a live guitarist there. Everything else, though, in theory, I could have programmed. Yeah, and then I gave all my royalties split between the band, even though I did most of that. Oh, well, what can you do? But yeah, no, it's just like effort versus reward and so on. And if you're working with other people, can they just write some stuff? But I don't want to be in one of those bands where you get everyone in a room and write a music by jamming, which is improvising. I don't find it easy to improvise over stuff that's being improvised. Like with heavy metal, some of the complexities of heavy metal, especially the heavier stuff that I want to get into, that I can't write easily myself. With that, like, you kind of need to know what's happening in the song to be able to improvise over it. So if the rest of the band haven't settled on song structures and like the gist of the music, how do I know what I'm supposed to do? Does that make sense? I don't know. Maybe it makes sense to people who know metal. If you're just like some random tuning in because you like rambling, maybe that won't make as much sense. But yeah, I don't want to be in one of those jamming bands, because when they're jamming and it's not at a stage where I can start adding anything, I just sort of stand in the corner and do nothing. Or like in the past, I would bring my violin and just muck around on that, but it never turned into anything by doing that. So I would rather either be in a band that's already got stuff written that I can put vocals onto, or work with someone who can write some of the music, and then we can do it back and forward and develop the song that way with me putting the vocals on, and then once we have stuff written, then we can together find the rest of the band members. But no one seems to work this way. My best hope is to find an established band, but a lot of the ones that I like don't want me as a vocalist, most commonly because I'm female. I think most of the people who've said no have done so on the basis of me being female, rather than giving me a chance and saying, actually, that's not what we're looking for. And then a lot of the bands that do want me are in the wrong style. I even joined a band earlier in the year, like I made some concessions for it not being in my style, because I was like, they've got everything else sorted, but it later turned out that they actually wanted to change direction, and if they'd told me about that direction in the beginning, I would have said no, because it wasn't my style. I made compromises on the style to begin with, but then it was going increasingly away from what I was into, so that's unfortunate. Bit of drama in that too, wrote about it on Patreon. I'm still friends with most of the band, but one of them took it quite a strange way, and yeah, let's not really talk about that. Anyway, blah blah blah. Band's hard to find. Been looking for ages. Sydney's not a great place. People told me to move to Melbourne for it, but guess what? Melbourne is now the hardest hit place in Australia for COVID, so I'm glad I didn't do that. I do have a mild paranoia that if I caught COVID, I'd get permanent lung damage, especially because I'm not particularly fit. And then there goes my singing, and after working for it so hard to get my voice to where it is, that would really suck, because when I'm feeling shit, singing to something just helps me get the emotions out. And if I couldn't do that, I don't know how I'd get rid of that energy. I sing while I'm doing my finance job, because it's boring, and I need to be doing something basically the opposite of finance, so I sing. I had a thought, but it's escaped me. I'm mildly distracted, but I can hear things. People going up and down the hallway. What else was there? Oh, see, it really throws me off. What was I just talking about? What was I just talking about? I don't even... Let me just pause it while I get my mind together. Yeah, no, I don't remember what I was just saying. I would have to watch this back to figure out where I got up to with my train of thought. It's funny how, you can just be talking about something and then you completely forget what the hell. But yeah, no, they're still talking, and it's really distracting. But otherwise I want to get this done, and I don't want to have to watch it back, because then I'll have to edit bits together, and I just can't be bothered in the state that I'm in. But yeah, basically, was I talking about Melbourne? No. Basically, the band search is frustrating, and I think the lack of progress is sort of feeding into a sense that maybe it'll never happen. In which case, my goal of trying to be in a band and get back on stage that way, that goal becomes unobtainable, and then what goals do I have? Because I need goals to help me figure out what I'm doing with my life. And yeah, if I don't have that as one, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? What's the point of the things that I do? I'm sort of getting into that level of existential what the fuck again. Yeah. I mean, there's been other things that have been frustrating in life, and in my internal life as well. But this particular question, I'm sort of like, what's going on here? And are there other goals that I could come up with as an alternative if the band thing doesn't work? Yeah. I think that's all for now because I'm just super distracted by the talking in the hallway. So, yeah. We're past 20 minutes anyway. That's enough for you guys for now, right? Yeah, my birthday's on Sunday. Yeah, still haven't thought of anything I really want. That's another thing is like, I just don't want much. Like, there are a lot of things that I guess would be nice to have. The things that I really want, it's hard to identify. And that's why, like, anytime I see a psychologist, it's probably worse now. Like, in the past, I had ideas about what I wanted and was convinced that they would fix my life. Like, ooh, if I do this uni course, maybe that'll fix my life. And I've done that a few times, haven't I? Yeah. Oh my god, they're so distracting. My thoughts are like, where am I going with this? Psychologists, blah blah. Okay, yeah, so past me had some, cycled through some pretty strong ideas of what would fix my life and what do I want. But if I go back to a psychologist now, and I think this is the problem with my past depression, is when they try and get you to list things like your goals, your values, and things you want in life. I'm just like, I don't know. Yeah, it's tricky. Like, the only goal that I really have in terms of things to work towards is joining a band. And it's not going anywhere. The best I can do is work on my vocals. And, like, I have to be careful about how I go about the whole band thing because, if I start my own band, risk of burning out. Even joining a band that already exists, I tend to take on too much responsibility if given a chance. Oh my god, I hope these fingers down. Ah! Ah! Oh man, yeah, goals and stuff. I don't know what else, and sometimes I worry that the band goal is just left over from younger me because I haven't thought of anything to replace it. So, better to have a goal that I'm vaguely attached to rather than no goal at all. But I do wonder, like, if it's not a real goal, maybe it's not helping me in the way that it should, if that makes any sense. Yeah, anyway, so, YouTube things. If you like it, give it a like. If you're new here, subscribe. Oh gosh, I don't like when that happens. The door opening by itself. I sort of just push it so that hope you can push it open. No. Leave a comment and ding the bell. Paper Vampire reminding me I forget to tell you to turn on the notifications for when I post stuff. I know it's trendy to complain that YouTube doesn't notify you about, when your subscriptions post things, but like, I don't turn the bell on. Yeah, no, I don't turn the bell on. If I want to know when someone I'm subscribed to has posted a video, I use desktop YouTube, and I go to that sidebar, and I check who has a little blue dot next to them, and then I click on them and see what their new videos are. Like, I do that myself. Probably because I don't trust things like YouTube to tell me about that, but I just don't turn on the bell anyway. I don't need to be notified about every single thing, because there are some people I only follow for, like, specific videos. Yeah, so let's complain about YouTube not notifying you that I posted a new video, instead of recognizing that maybe my videos are not what everyone wants to watch. I'm sure, like, I know there are glitches across YouTube, but I think a lot of YouTubers just assume that the reason they're not getting the views they want is because YouTube failed instead of them failing. Like, sometimes it's our own fault for making chaotic random videos, which I know I do. I'm sure, like, there's a lot of people who subscribe to me for tech because of my Alienware review, and I'm pretty sure I said in it I'm not a tech person, but they're just like, oh, you're a tech girl, well, I'm gonna follow you. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't have $6,000 to buy a new computer every 6 months to review for you, so what are you doing here? Oh dear, like, I'm not even monetized, come on guys. And then there's people who subscribe to me for music, and I haven't posted a cover in ages. Like, I filmed that one last year, another Disturbed one, and I don't feel like editing it together. Like, this is me and music. I don't even listen to much music at the moment. I'm just, like, I listen to old music, that's been in my collection for years when I'm doing finance. But, I don't listen to much new music. I'm just not feeling it that way, which is a little bit frustrating. Like, if I'm not feeling the music, what am I into? I don't know. I feel very floaty, like I'm just living, there's no purpose to it. Anyway, so, went on another little mini ramble there, but if you like it, give it a like. If you're new here, subscribe. Leave a comment and ding the bell. See you next time. Maybe share as well. And I think that covers all the YouTube things. Now I have to upload this video. Our internet's a bit better than it used to be, but still, like, adding little cards that I know no one clicks takes a while, but I feel like I have to do it anyway. Anyway, have a good weekend, guys. My birthday on Sunday. Oh, I forgot to ask for money. That's right, I have a Patreon. And because it's my birthday, I'll guilt you into joining my Patreon, even though, like, I don't really produce any specific content that you're particularly interested in. I also have a PayPal link in the description. Other ways to guilt you into giving me stuff. I mean, there are channels who genuinely need the Patreon and, offer decent stuff for it. Mine's kind of just like a random mini community where I can share random stuff that I don't necessarily want everyone to be able to see. And something and something and something. Listen to my AD Destroyer music project. Something, something. Blah. Have a good weekend and stuff.